This is an ADC warning. The crimes you're about to see are true. Only the names were changed to protect the ignorant. Tonight, two criminals who absolutely never met. Surveillance camera footage of a new dance step and a dramatic dumb criminal drum roll. All this and more tonight on America's Dumbest Criminals. Welcome to America's Dumbest Criminals. I'm Daniel Butler. We believe that every criminal, no matter how long his career, will eventually wake up one morning and find that he is the dumbest guy he knows. And then that night, he'll see himself on this show as we open another file on America's Dumbest Criminals. Now, Anthony Underwood of Birmingham has a mind-numbing story we call Run and Hit.
My partner and I had stopped in the area, Huddle House, and we noticed an individual, and he was accompanied with a female. And it dawned on me that this individual had presented some fake ID to me on a prior call, you know, at a domestic call we got. I walked up to him, I asked him his name. He gave me some fake name. He presented some fake ID.
I will talk to my husband.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hey.
Can I see some ID, please, sir?
Give him your wallet.
So we had made contact with dispatch, and we gave the birth name that I knew him under and the birthday. And she came back and said that he was a wanted person, you know, with the county sheriff. So his girlfriend got excited. At that time, she recited his first name, okay, that I knew him under. So he took off running.
Hey.
He hurdled the fence. And what he didn't know, it was a hill going downgrade from the fence immediately as you clear that fence. Well, he didn't get any traction on the hill, and he just slid into the alley and continued across the paved alley into a neighboring house. We heard the thump, and he was laying stretched out, smacked right into the house.
ADC quiz number 927. When Jesse James tried to rob the First National Bank in Northfield, Minnesota, the townsfolk stopped him. How long did it take the people to get their money back? Was it A, 7 minutes, B, 2 weeks, or C, 15 years? The correct answer is A, 7 minutes, which is less time than it took him to make the money disappear. Next, Detective Anthony Lewis recalls a drug dealer who was the dumbest face in the crowd.
We were working in the city of Oakland Park, assisting them in a reverse sting. And we had just made an arrest. There was about 3 marked police cars there and several unmarked police cars. And the guy walks up alongside the police cars, walks up to Mel, the police officer that sells the rocks. His sign that he had just made a deal was to take off his hat. And I noticed Mel, he was looking right at me, and he took off his hat, which is a signal that he made a deal.
Now, if you're a drug dealer, what's wrong with this picture? How many places can you spot obvious signals that you're in the presence of many police officers? There's several.
And I couldn't believe that this guy is buying a rock with all these police officers. There must have been 6 or 7 police officers there in uniform, along with the officers that were in plain clothes, but they did have their guns and badges on. So I ran up behind the guy, grabbed the guy, and the guy had actually bought a rock with all the police officers there in front of him.
Folks, we've said it before and we'll say it again. There are surveillance cameras everywhere, like the floorboard of this car, which was just waiting for this guy to break in and hotwire it. By the time he spots the camera, it's already caught him on tape. Even though he shuts it off, he gets out and gets back in, reactivating the camera. Now, what have we learned? When you break the law, you will get caught, you will feel really dumb. James Claiborne of Knoxville recalls the time he gazed into a picture imperfect.
I was on patrol in the western end of the city, and I noticed a car that had a brake light out. I pulled it over on the side of the road, asked the gentleman, well, buddy, I said, do you have any ID? And he said, yes, sir, I do. He handed me a college identification card of a man who was 15 years his junior. I looked at the photograph and I said, buddy, I said, this is not you.
Sir, this is not your ID.
No, that's me.
This is you?
Yes, sir, that's me.
Sir, could you tell me, please, how it is you got to be 15 years older and 6 inches taller?
Traffic accident.
And I told him, I said, it must have been a hell of a wreck. Later on, we found out he had stolen the car and broken into a business and was using a man's identification who had his car broken into and his wallet stolen.
Got my chin in the steering wheel, and that's where it like stretched my neck out because my legs was pinned down and it cut me all up.
The guy was either ready for Ripley's Believe It or Not, or he was absurdly dumb. Later tonight, a dumb criminal who almost breaks the law. Next up, Officer Darrell Price revisits us with breaking, and entering halfway.
And one night on third shift, an officer had spotted a subject breaking into a building, and it was a transmission shop. He was breaking in, but the problem was this guy was so drunk, he couldn't get through the window. I mean, he had already busted the window out, and he kept rolling this big barrel up to the window, and he'd crawl up on it and go to crawl through the window, and the barrel would fall, and they'd both roll back down the hill. Well, by the time he finally got into the window, about an hour and a half had passed. It had gotten to the point where we were just ready to arrest him for being a drunk because he was just wasting our time. Finally, when he got about half in and half out the window, we decided he had committed enough of the act to go ahead and make the arrest. Well, when we grabbed him and started pulling him back out the window, one of the officers realized that the door next to the window was open. He just opened it, walked in, and pushed him back through the window. He had actually broken into an exterior bathroom that was open all night long. And there was no business that he had broken into. We basically couldn't even charge him with the breaking and entering, just the damage to property from breaking the window.
In Maine, it used to be against the law for a man to tickle a woman with a feather duster, but you could count their vertebrae with your fingers and get a good chuckle. Has the man arrested in our next story turned away from a life of dim-wittedness, or is he still a Lightfoot? In Lawrence, Kansas, a man robbed an all-night market, then fled into the night. Police responded quickly and soon picked up the felon's trail. Twice, the man was certain he had lost the officer, and twice, they uncannily homed in on him.
Why did you guys keep following me?
Years of police training, of course.
The officers showed him the light.
Shoes laid up, kid.
Red lights, to be exact, on the heels of his tennis shoes, blinking on and off every time his feet hit the ground. We take you inside the courtroom for trial and error. From actual courtroom transcripts, a grandmother who won't cover for her grandson.
Ms. Jones, would you please recount the car wreck as you remember it?
The police were coming toward me. They were chasing another car. I noticed that the driver of the other car suddenly ducked his head down, and then he couldn't see, and he swerved, and he ran right into me.
All right, this is when the police took the car thief into custody?
Yes, but not before I gave that no-good grandson of mine a good piece of my mind.
Later tonight, a dumb criminal who really cleans house and does interior decorating in jail now. All on America's Dumbest Criminal. Drug crimes are among the most destructive, eating away at the social fabric like so many glassy-eyed moths. It's comforting when one of these lowlifes is exposed as being dumb as dirt. An undercover officer remembers a forgetful dope dealer in an affair to forget.
I was asked to work in an undercover capacity and buy $200 worth of crack cocaine from a male that had been arrested several times and that I was familiar with, and he should have known who I was. We met in a motel room. We had already wired the room, and the gentleman, a little leery at first.
No, you don't know me.
You look familiar.
If you knew me, then I would know you. And if you recognize me, I'd recognize you.
Yeah.
So you don't know me. I don't know you. You don't know me.
But I'm almost sure.
You don't know me. I don't know you, right? If I knew you, you'd know me.
But you...
Are you going to deal? Are you a guy who is here to deal? Because I'm the only person in this room to deal with.
Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. That's okay.
Okay?
Yeah. You're sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. All right. Let's do this.
So he accepted that. The deal was made. As he exited the room, he was taken down by the officers. He just said, "I can't believe you did that to me." I said, "I can't believe you didn't know me."
You know, Hollywood has portrayed drug dealers as villains with cat-like grace and style, a certain savoir-faire, people that move with a certain rhythm. But this is actual surveillance cam footage of a drug dealer. Watch how he moves when the police bust in. All right, now, let's see that one more time, because I think there's a dance here. 1 and 2 and gonna bust you. 1 and 2 and gonna bust you. 1 and 2 and, oh, please let the officer lead at all times. How well do you really know your neighbors? Ray Briggs recalls the boneheaded saga of Home, Swipe Home.
We were investigating some burglaries that had occurred, and they were kind of odd burglaries in that they were in a neighborhood where normally there weren't any burglaries. Complete sets of furniture, dishes, refrigerators, things that you don't have taken during the the normal run-of-the-mill everyday burglaries. You didn't lose just your television. You came home and found your house completely empty.
Oh no! It's all gone! It's all gone!
And several months later, we had a occasion where a used furniture truck pulled up to this house, and some of the neighbors noticed that the guy got into an argument with these people from the used furniture place, and we called the used furniture dealer, and he says, "I don't know what's wrong, but this guy got mad at me. He must be greedy or something. He didn't like the price I gave him for the furniture he was trying to sell me. He was trying to sell me basically everything in the house." So we got the furniture dealer to agree to send an undercover officer back out there with him to look at the furniture and stuff. Lo and behold, it was the stuff that had been stolen out of all the other houses in the neighborhood. They were taking they basically had furnished the entire house with stolen property.
This leather sofa. This stuff wouldn't be stolen, would it? Stolen? Jim, where'd you get this guy? He's a real comic. Look at this TV.
You're under arrest for possession of stolen property.
Oh, come on.
What got them caught was that they didn't like the price they were getting for their stolen merchandise.
In Kentucky, it used to be against the law for reptiles to attend Sunday school, but it was legal for chickens to attend revivals. In Peoria, Illinois, police responded to a house burglary to find that none of the usual items had been stolen. The TV, VCR, and stereo system were all still in place, sort of. The items had been slightly moved so that the burglars could swipe something else. The rug.
Good night.
Worried that tracking a stolen rug would be difficult, if not impossible, the officers left the house with little hope.
Charlie, come here a minute. Take a look at this.
Then they noticed a trail, a furrow through the snow in the yard. Following the suspicious trail, the officers came to the front door of the house located directly across the street.
Excuse me, sir. I need to ask you a question.
Yeah?
Where'd you get the rug?
Oh, that rug?
Yes, sir, that rug.
Christmas gift.
Really? Yeah. We got a Christmas gift for you, too. Come on.
Oh, well, come on. No, really, my Aunt Lurleen. She's loaded.
An armed robber steals more than money. He takes a bit of his victim's dignity with him. It's only right, then, that we now remove what's left of the dumb criminal's dignity.
Next, an undercover officer socks it to the bad guy in "you shoes, you lose."
And we go riding around, a buddy of mine and I, looking for prostitutes. And we were in the western section of town one night, and a guy flags us down.
Man, what's up? What are you looking for? A little, you know, a little weed? Yeah. What do you need? Yeah, that's what I need. Well, I can help you out. Just give me $20 and I'll go around the corner. I'll be right back. I got some really good weed for you. I know you look like a 20. I don't have it on me now. I just need to go around the corner. I'll be right back. Man, just 5 minutes. Just give me $20 and I'll be right back. You'll be very happy with it. I promise you. It's just in. It's good stuff. What's the problem? Come on now. Don't mess around with me. You need to leave the shoes. Leave the shoes. You need to leave the shoes. My shoes. Those. You want my shoes. Oh, collateral. Look, man, I'm an honest guy, but I tell you what, it's sort of cold out here, but I tell you what, I'll leave the shoes.
It's cold out here. I said, I know, you'll be back. So he takes off these tennis shoes. So I give him the $20 bill, off he goes. And I guess about 10 minutes later, here he comes back, and he's got the dope. And he says,
pretty good deal for $20, but where's my shoes? They're in the back seat. Back seat? What do you mean in the back seat? Well, hell, they're way over there, man. Let me get my damn shoes out of here.
And he leads in. Just as he gets leaned in, Buddy jumps in the driver's side. We drive off with him. We took him to the city jail, processed him, and he was arrested for distribution of a controlled substance. But he got his shoes back.
No brains, no feet, but nice hat. In Pennsylvania, it used to be against the law for a housewife to hide dirt under a rug. It was also illegal for a housewife to slurp spaghetti loudly. Now, a skillet-headed bank robber becomes overdrawn in Enough is Enough. When Janice Patterson left the bank and got into her car, she didn't suspect that she had an appointment with stupidity.
Hurry up. All I have is $10. That's all I have. Come on, I just moved here. I'm in between.
Lady, shut up. This is a robbery, not a commentary. You got any credit cards?
I don't have a thing. They're in my husband's name. You wouldn't believe his mother. I call her the dragon.
Come here. Write me a check. Write me a check.
I'm out of checks.
Make it out $100.
I'm totally out of checks. I'm trying to find a place to live. You know any nice neighborhoods I should look for?
I don't know nothing about no neighborhood. What I look like?
I'm just learning my way around here, and I don't.
Janice didn't bother to tell him her account balance was less than $100. That check would bounce if anyone cashed it. But no one would, since she hadn't signed it.
Come to the bank. Bring some money for Mike. You got to help a brother out next time.
And with that, we come to the end of another show. Our continued thanks to police officers across the nation for their stories. I'm Daniel Butler saying, don't be dumb, don't break the law.